Hey everybody, we're live from the ALA annual conference. We're here with Debbie Foster of Affinity Consulting. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. I am so excited. You spoke earlier today.
I do.
This is your first annual conference since the rest of us have all been gone. What have you missed?
Oh gosh, I just miss the people.
Yeah.
It's like a reunion.
Yes.
Walk down the hall, you're like, oh my gosh, hi, I haven't seen you in 2 years. So it's been just awesome to see all the people,
Yeah.
reconnect with people in person versus Zoom.
You've spent a lot of time on Zoom over the last 18 months.
Yeah, had I known that it was going to last this long, I might have kept a timer running just to see how many hours. But I do feel like I wake up in the morning and launch Zoom. And then before I shut down for the night, I end my last Zoom meeting all day.
During this, you also produced 2 entire virtual conferences, correct?
Yes.
Yes, Lemonade for Legal.
We did. We did Lemonade for Legal twice, and we also did 2 additional virtual symposiums in April and June. So we've really done 4 virtual conferences that we did ourselves just as a kind of a community, get the ALA crowd and our clients together talking about solving these new challenges that we were all facing.
Yeah.
So we've had a few people stop by and talk to us today so far, and they were the last people that were here. They were talking about your session. So for those that can't be here today in person, can you give us the cliff notes of what you talked about?
So my session was about getting the most out of the technology you already have. And I talked a lot about how it's not just technology. People, how you get your work done, thinking differently about just legal work in general. And so I think some of the big takeaways, just watching the audience and watching the audience nod, was around just practices that law firms have had forever that they just don't question.
Right.
Whether it's like we talked about paper pre-bills or how they do client matter intake, and just really challenging all that, flipping it around and saying, how should we, if we were starting a new law firm today and we were the most innovative group of people, what would we do?
Right.
Right. And another thing I think that in fairness, it's tough to get people to imagine what something different would look like.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's like, imagine your firm working as efficiently as it can work. And they're like, I don't know how to imagine that.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about that. It was fun.
So what's your short list? I get those phone calls too, and it's like, hey, we're splitting off, starting a new firm. Do you have a short list of things? Okay, you need to consider this, and this. Or is that way too big of a loaded? It's way too loaded of a question.
That is a loaded question, and the technology piece is obviously really important. Every firm has to lay that foundation for the right technology. So I think that practice management, billing and accounting, document management are really important. But I think the things that people don't think about, like how are we going to get our documents drafted? How are we going to create templates so our things look the same going forward? How are we going to create a brand and differentiate ourselves?
Yeah.
A lot of times people forget to talk through and think about stuff like that.
Right. I really liked what you said. It was just such a small, funny thing, but you were telling a story about the girl who FedExes the printed version of contracts and mails them out, even though they are digital and could just be emailed. But that's what she's always done. And so your advice to the audience was, you need to question what has always been done, and you're investing in technology and you're training them one time, and then you're doing it all on onboarding. So you also talked about spacing out onboarding and how important it is that when somebody new comes in and you have invested in technology, that you don't dump it all on them on the same day that they're still learning their seatmate's name.
Exactly, and just like, it's Wednesday, here you go, here's your password, good luck, let me know if you have any questions. That's such a common onboarding method, and it doesn't work, and people are frustrated, they don't know what they're doing, they don't meet your expectations, turnover is so costly. So it's onboarding really needs to be revisited in most firms.
I agree.
So one question we've asked all the other people we've interviewed today, we asked what their favorite session was. I'm not going to ask you that, because if it was Amanda, she'd say her own, and I don't want to set you up for that.
Oh, it was my own, but anyway,
it was your own?
ahead.
It was good? Okay. Had to take a little jab there.
I was going to say, I didn't even have a session. I was supposed to do a session, but the person failed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So, you've been to a lot of ALAs.
I have.
When you come these days, what do you try to take away? What are you looking to learn while you're here?
I love to learn from our partners, like you guys and other business partners that are in the expo hall. What's new? What's exciting? What are people talking about? I love to just hear from our clients, like what's the biggest problem you solved in the last year? I'd love to hear from them what they're doing, and just not so much pitching how we can help them, but it just helps. Being here helps keep us in touch with the things that people are facing every day. And I mean, that's our big takeaway, is building relationships. That's why we're here. We're here to get to know people better, get to know our partners better, get to know our clients and our prospects, and just ALA community in general, getting to know people better.
What are some of those challenges you're hearing about now, since we're a year and a half into the pandemic? What are people saying?
Well, I think the biggest one is, should we go back to work? Like, should we all go back to work? And that is a tough challenge, because for those people in the firms that have gotten used to and learned to really appreciate that flexibility,
it's going to be
if
a
they
challenge.
don't get it from their current firm, they're just going to go to another firm where they are offering that flexibility.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing that I've heard is the biggest challenge.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's great.
Oh, I thought you were about to go.
I was going
can
to,
keep
but
going.
you keep jumping all over me.
I can keep going, but go ahead.
You know what? Really, this
No,
is
no,
the
no,
Rob
no, no,
show.
no, no, no.
So
Go ahead.
no, I'm fine.
I enjoy talking to Debbie, and I try to get as much as I can every time. So go ahead, Amanda.
Well, now I don't remember what I was going to ask.
So I'll ask. So a lot of what we talk about with different people is how they've built their brand within the ALA, and how they've built almost like a career in the ALA throughout the membership and organization. For somebody that's new to the ALA, do you have any advice for them as far as networking and mentoring, anything like that, what they should do?
Sure. I mean, I think there is a get involved message,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's at the chapter level or at national, don't sit down at a table without introducing yourself to the people who are at the table. If you are involved in a chapter, get involved, volunteer for something, learn things about the other members, learn about their ALA story. There's so much value in learning from each other, and I think that's one of the biggest benefits when we talk to our clients who are not ALA members. I'm like, what are you doing? You have to join the ALA. Like, there's no, it's the best bang for your buck in the business. So I think getting involved and showing up for events, showing up for the social things, not just running back to your room, which I always have a tendency to. I'm like, it's
well, Rob took a nap today already, so he has also been guilty of running back to
I
his
almost
room.
asked in our last session, how do you keep going the whole time? Because we're half a day in and I took a nap already.
Yes.
No, I keep going the whole time. I feel like this is like a, limited. You can't get this time back.
No,
so
you
I'm just
can't.
gonna
You
go, meet as many people, talk to as many people as I can.
Yeah. And to pile on a little bit about what you said about volunteering, right? So we talk a lot about how I have made myself better by volunteering in ALA, right? And I walk through the halls now and I know a lot of people, and I've seen them from years and years and years, and it all started with somebody in an elevator asking me to be on the education committee. And, hey, can you do this? And I feel like the message is all we lean into those opportunities, and so many people don't do that. But there are micro volunteering opportunities within ALA that I don't think people think, oh, well, I have to be on the board and that's going to take a lot of time. And yes, it is, but you could run your community challenge weekend, or you could run the social media for your chapter, and that doesn't take a lot of time. You just post it in the nights and on the weekends, and just those little opportunities build up, and not only your career is better, but also your general knowledge base, because you'll know people, right? Like, I've got to meet you through ALA. If I have a problem that I know you have been in 50 firms this year, I can just call you and say,
50.
hey, she said
Many
in her session.
more.
No, you said 50
In a year.
She said 50 firms a year.
Yeah.
Thank you, I was listening. You weren't there.
You
You
were
were napping.
You could have been at my session. You were like, Debbie's session, and
The
nap.
I went for the nap.
You would think he would look more refreshed had he taken a nap.
Oh, there we go. Good job.
Amanda, I think your point is so spot on, and I think that some of the things that I hear from other ALA members about volunteering is they don't feel qualified.
Right.
So the qualifications are to be a volunteer for the ALA, like showing up.
Showing up.
Right?
Yep.
Raising your hand, like if you'll teach me, I'll
Right.
be happy to do
Right,
it. And
right.
that's what I always say is I'm like, don't be afraid. You'll be right here with the rest of us
Yes.
who don't know what we're doing.
You
Come
belong.
on in.
You belong at the seat
Yeah.
at your table. That's what it's taken me time. And when I first joined the board, they had to sit me down and say, it's okay, you belong here.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I haven't done this, and I haven't done this,
Yeah.
and I haven't done this. I'm like, well, you have value.
Yeah.
Doing your job brings you value to every other person who does your job.
Yeah. Sure.
Because you have done something that they haven't done, or you know something, or you've experienced something, and so you have the value. And I think, this organization it's volunteer run, except for headquarters, and it's successful because of people leaning in and taking those opportunities.
For sure.
So we had April and Judy on, and one question I asked them, just like them, you've done a lot of public speaking. You did today, so that's a big fear of a lot of people. Do you have advice for people that are scared to do public speaking? How do you get over that fear? Or do you even have that fear at all?
Well, I opened up my session today telling everyone that every time I speak, when it's breakout sessions, I'm like, nobody's going to show up.
Oh, you had
I
a
look
full
at who-
room. I had to sit in the back
I
on
know.
the side.
I look at who else is speaking and I'm like, nobody's going to come to my session. My advice is you just have to do it.
Yeah.
Find a small place to do it. Find a group of people that you trust that are willing to give you some feedback. Practice in front of a mirror. Record yourself. You'll hate every minute of it,
Oh,
but
yes.
do it anyway.
Every minute of it.
Yeah.
I can assure you, your recorded voice sounds terrible,
Yeah.
and looking at yourself on camera is
Yeah, you're
terrible.
like, oh my gosh.
Amanda's gonna have a new thing now that we're doing the video recording. The audio was one thing, but I think this video is gonna be.
Oh,
next level.
it's really gonna be really rough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a hard time.
Yeah, but just practice and
You're
just
your-
volunteer
you're
to do it.
your Harshest critic.
Yeah.
For sure.
You are your harshest critic. For
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank
So
you for joining
much.
us, Debbie. It was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and maybe this is a preview for season 2.
Maybe.
Maybe we'll see.
I mean, my fee is really high.
Oh, I've heard that.